Hello, guys, and welcome to a new school piano chat of the week. Okay, and today I want to talk about something that is so common that every musician I know, no matter their level, go through. And it's how they choose what they do based on their fears or say no to opportunities because of their fears. Okay, so I want to share with you a few stories, two stories that happened to me in the past, and I think by bypassing my fears and putting myself in danger, so to speak, as a musician, or where I was really uncomfortable, and it made me grow so much as a musician. And I think that every musician has that in them, and there's not a lot of people that actually talk about it. And that's why I kind of want to put that forward, and that more musicians know that you're not alone. Everyone feels that. Okay, so putting yourself in fearful situation can be playing with musicians that you feel are much stronger than you, that are at much higher level. You feel that they know so much more, and they're, whatever. They're, if you're a drummer, you're playing with a bassist that is so good and don't feel you can keep up with them. Right. Well, I want to share a story with you that is kind of related to that. So, a few years ago, I was playing piano for as I grew up playing mostly classical stuff, and but I didn't really play with a lot of people. In my early 20s, I wanted to start a band, and I had this opportunity where I could go and play and jam with three musicians. Two of them, well, one I knew very well, which was a guitarist, and two of them, one of them was a seriously insanely good drummer, and a graduated bassist from university that I knew through mutual friends. And they were looking for a keyboardist, and they said, "Oh, you should come and jam with us. We want to play a gig in 2 weeks, and we're going to work on a few songs." Right away in my head, I said, "No, there's no way." Kind of a, defense mechanism in my head. I said, "No, I'm not ready to play with these guys. They're too good for me. I won't be able to play well enough. I'm not used to." Like, in my head, all of the excuses started running, right? And they were so good. I mean, they were great excuses. I was like, "Yeah, of course I can't go." And all this discussion was happening in my head within a few seconds of when they actually offered me to come and jam with them. Right. So I said, "Oh yeah, the famous excuse, oh yeah, I'll check if I can make it, and I'll come back to you." Right. I hung up the phone, and I just started to ask myself, "Man, there's no way I can play with these guys." But then I really said, "William, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to play in your room by yourself, the piano, your whole life? Or do you actually want to move forward, and you have barriers, but you want to break them and be a better musician?" I go back to my example. I was saying to myself, "Oh man, you should do it. Stop being a little bitch and just go. What's the worst that can happen? You'll play, and you'll fuck up a few times, and that's it. You won't go jam with these guys, anymore. And that's it. That's the worst that can happen. It's really not a big deal, right?" So once I started to say that to myself, then I really said, let's go for it. So I called him back. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to make it. I'm going to be there." So I brought my keyboard. I was super stressed out. Honestly, I remember the first song, and like they knew where they were going, right? They said, "Okay, we're gonna play in this key, blah blah. This is the progression. So let's just jam it out." We start playing, and I mean, I could definitely play with these guys for sure. I was underestimating myself so much. so much. You always think that you're below where you actually are. And if you don't challenge yourself or put yourself in those types of situations, you will never know your true level and what you're really capable of doing. And just to wrap up this story, I played with the guys and they ended up bringing a singer, actually, that became a really good friend of mine, which I helped her write songs for her album. I produced a few songs of her album, and that led to other opportunities and opened doors. And it really, honestly, this story, and I won't get too much into details because we're already at a few minutes, but this just me saying, you know what, fuck it, I'll go jam with these guys, led to so many doors opening in front of me just because of that. And if I would have said no, I'm too, I would have said no. I'm not confident enough. I can't do it. And just, you know what, I can't make it. All of that stupid excuse. Then I would have passed on so many opportunities. So yeah, so just me going there really changed my life, and it's just jumping over those inner thoughts that you have, that you always have them. You're not good enough. You're gonna fuck up. You're blah, blah, blah. All of that. You can block them, but you just need to actively do it. And one last story that I want to share with you guys. I was offered a few years ago. I was working on a piano album, I believe, and a friend of my brother called me up and said, I'm organizing a festival, and I'm looking for some shows, some acts. Would you be able to come and play something? And at that point, I was composing for piano. I had played a few other instruments as well. So in my head, I said, "Oh, maybe I could play a looping gig, right?" So I just by looping pianos and keyboards and guitars and beats and stuff, I knew I could do that. So I said, "Yeah, sure, I can do it." So when's the show? And he said, "Oh, in 3 weeks." I had no set plan, nothing. So I said, "Oh my God, okay, 3 weeks. Yeah, okay, let me check my," again, the same little thing we always say, "Oh, I'll just check my schedule, see if I can make it. But yeah, sounds interesting. Let me get back to you." Hang up the phone right away. In my head, impossible. I cannot do that in 3 weeks. I can't prepare a 40-minute set in 3 weeks, looping guitars, and man, there's no way I can do that. And again, same thing. Stop being a little bitch and just go for it. Put yourself in that uncomfortable position. Break your barrier. What's the worst that can happen? You mess up a few times. Big deal, you know. So I called him back and I said, "Yeah, okay, I'm gonna do it." And the show went so well, and I just proved I never before that I never really played guitar in front of people or in front of a crowd, piano for sure, but never really guitar. And I love guitar and bass playing. I've been playing guitar and bass for a few years now, and it was so cool. I came up with really cool songs. And it was just I don't think I'll ever do that again. But it was again me myself viewing myself way lower than what I was actually at as a musician and what I'm actually capable of. And I was just by fear of being ridiculized or messing up in front of people, but you don't care about that. It doesn't matter. Whenever you're breaking a barrier, going past your fears as a person and as a musician, the benefit is much more greater than the result of just messing up at a show. Everyone messes up at a show at some point if you're doing a lot of gigs. Okay, so the moral of the story here is put yourself in uncomfortable positions. Put yourself as a musician in situations that you do not think you can succeed, or that is above your pay grade, or your is above your skill set that you think you have. And you'll be surprised how good you actually are and what are your capabilities as a musician. Okay, so I hope that this maybe sheds a light a little bit on what you can actually achieve, and take my stories and how the first story when I went to jam with these guys, how it opens so many doors for me. And it made it, I had connections after that just because of that simple jam, because I accepted to play with guys that I thought that was much greater than me as far as musicians, but ended up being able to play with these guys very well. Here was the weekly piano chat. Again, my name is William from New School Piano, and please subscribe. Share your thoughts if you have any thoughts about what I just discussed. If you have stories like that, or other points you'd like to add, just put them in the comments below. I'll always try to comment and respond to them. So, all right, guys. See you next time, and do not be fearful. All right, you're better than you think, and trust yourself. All right, cheers, guys.